So I'm really excited today. We're making pasta roses. I'm gonna use fuchsia dough, which is made from dragon fruit, eggs, and flour, that's it. And red dough, which is just the beets, egg, and flour. Pasta roses are a really funky, cool pasta shape that look very, very complicated, but the reality is they're super simple. I have 100% confidence that you too can make these at home. So we are just gonna run through the quick and dirty on this. And I don't know about you, but I think I would rather receive a dozen pasta roses than actual roses. I mean, you can eat them. They're like the gift that keeps on giving, at least for one evening anyway. So I'm just gonna flour my dough here and sheet the dough out nice and thin to start. I roll out to about 1/4 of an inch thick so that it'll fit through the pasta machine, and then start sheeting. Okay, so roses are a filled pasta shape that kind of get folded or wrapped around themselves several times. And so one tip that I have is to sheet the pasta dough very, very thin so that you don't have thick walled ravioli where you're chewing through mouthfuls that are just kind of too big to eat. So very, very thin on your pasta sheeting. If you think it's thin enough, go a little bit thinner. Now I'm cutting sort of what's ultimately going to become the shape of my petals. So I'm using just a straight rolling cutter to kind of make squiggly edges along all of my sides. And I am going for a maximum width of no more than 3 inches. And this is just to keep the size of the roses not too big, and again, not too thick, so that they are a delicious mouthful. So, and then the length here, I'm just gonna kind of trim this up, is no wider than 3 inches. And then in terms of length, about 7 or 8 inches long. I'm gonna pipe a line of filling along the center, being careful not to go to the very edge because I don't want the filling to emerge out the edge. And I'll just go straight across like so. I like red and pink just because I think it gives a nice variation of color. Just use a little bit of water above the filling just to make sure that when I fold my 2 sides of the roses together, they adhere very well. All I'm doing is folding the bottom edge up over that filling to kind of match up with the top edge there. And then to make sure that they are fully crimped together and none of the filling emerges out the sides or the top, I'll just use a little crafting dowel to make sure that they're held together very well. Then we use a little bit more water. We're about to roll these up. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of water across where I sort of have that filling under there, because that will become what we roll up and what needs to stick together. I'm just gonna start at one end and literally start rolling just onto itself, just like that. And there you have a beautiful pasta rose. Now we are going to boil these. So you see what I mean when we talked about using very thin pasta so that it's not too thick when you take a bite. And then the boiling technique is a little bit different than standard pasta. We're not actually going to immerse them completely in the water. We are going to boil the bottoms and sort of steam the tops so that they hold their shape really nicely and we can plate them in a really pretty way. Now we're gonna go boil them, and while we're boiling them, we are making sure to sort of boil the bottoms where we have the filling so that that gets nice and cooked through, but we don't want the tops of the roses to get soggy, so we're just gonna let the steam from the bottom of the pot cook the top of the roses. That way they'll be cooked really evenly and they'll taste delicious.